Tradwives say things like, I just want to be a housewife, I don't want to work. As if being a housewife and a mom is not a full time job.
She makes a decent point here. If you are calling yourself a trad wife and you're really just taking it easy, you're not. You're not really a trad wife. It's more than just walking around in a sundress all day. Um, Now, in my experience, I think I've seen more of the cooking and the cleaning, or at least pretending to cook and clean. So I think at very least they are promoting the right idea, the right mindset. I haven't really heard any woman who calls herself a trad wife say things like what she's saying here is, oh, I just want to, you know, take it easy. That being said, there's probably less stress, um, even if you are working hard physically at cooking and cleaning and these things. There's probably less stress overall than if you were to work in an office with an asshole of a boss, that kind of thing.
Any real housewife and mom out there would know that that does not even make sense because it's a lot of work. It's a full time job. You don't have any breaks. Hi everyone, welcome.
I don't understand that not having any breaks. Maybe if you have like a lot of kids and or they're not very well disciplined, and of course you are homeschooling them all. But yeah, maybe I'm just too much of a guy, but I don't believe that you get no breaks. I think you're doing something wrong if you're getting no breaks.
Welcome or welcome back to the channel. I'm Dolphin, and in today's video, I'm going to talk about the boom of tradwives. Okay, the tradwives. If you don't know what a tradwife is, I'm going to show you shortly. And before I start, nothing in this video.
I think it's amazing that it is still being called a trend or a boom. I think it's a great thing. Um, There's probably no secret for anyone that follows my comments and such that I'm very much for the trad wives in general. That being said, yeah, there's going to be some of them that are fake, just like there's going to be some fakers and of any kind, really. You are not seeing the real picture on YouTube or TikTok. I think we all understand that. It's not exclusive to trad wives.
Is to bash real housewives, real homemakers. Okay, I'm talking about those pretentious people on the internet. Just in case you're wondering what a tradwife is, here's a definition of a tradwife. We need to be reminded that these people are first
Okay, okay, go back.
influencers
I was expecting
and
that to
their
stay up longer. What the heck? Okay. It's a married woman, especially one who posts on social media, okay, who stays at home doing cooking, cleaning, and etc., and has children. That man, this is a lot being added here that she takes care of. Yeah, trad wife is short for traditional wife. Yeah, maybe you have kids, maybe you don't. I think traditionally, a trad wife should at least want kids. I think that part's fair. I don't think that any part of the word tradwife implies that you post on social media, um, stays home. The thing that it's leaving out here, and well, there's two things. In my opinion, a tradwife believes in uh, submission, to be submissive to her husband. Uh, Oftentimes, this is based on a biblical belief, but not always. So I do think that's a necessary part of being a tradwife. Also, I would even add not just that you stay home and you do the cooking and cleaning, but that you feel like on some level or another, it's what you're supposed to do as a wife. And that's a tall order. I know that's a more strict definition, but I just kind of feel like if you're doing that just because, um, I don't know if you're really a traditional wife. I don't know if you have a traditional mindset if you're doing it just because you feel like it. There's a whole discussion to be had over this sense of duty, this sense of so the man, if you're a traditional man, you work not just because you have to, but you understand this is what a man is supposed to do, that kind of deal. And I think that something similar would have to be said for a traditional woman.
We need to be reminded that these people are first influencers and their career involves cosplaying the 1960s traditional wives, the stay at home wives, the housewives of back in the day. Just bringing forth a fantasy lifestyle that is.
Me personally, I don't care for the 1950s, 1960s aesthetic. Although I think that this is just my theory. I think that the popularity of that really boils down to this was the last era in which men and women were truly expected to dress differently. Like it wasn't even really an option yet for women to walk around a lot in pants. I know that they did, but I guess my point is that it was more common for women to wear dresses and skirts in the 50s than the alternatives. And same thing for men. There was a certain attire for each. And so I think it's really symbolic of how different things were expected of men and women. And it was just because everyone knew that men and women were different back then. I think that's what draws people to that aesthetic. But again, me, I don't. I think like my wife's a trad wife, but she doesn't wear sundresses and dresses and all this stuff. It's not a necessary part of it.
Not even attainable at all by today's standards. So let's not mistake these people for stay at home moms because it's a whole lot different. While it is true that some farmers do have a lot of money, I mean, you need money to own so much land, right? But life on the farm is so far different from this beautifully curated, fancy videos we see online. It involves hard work, dedication. In fact, people that are on the farm barely have time enough to do their chores.
So again, I think that this is a valid criticism if you're leveling it at content creators in general. Okay, um, pretty much any content creator, they like even this woman here. You mean to tell me that she's always dressed up like this? Am I to believe that? No, I think that most content creators, they make it look nicer than it usually is. I don't think that it's. Um, I think only an idiot would watch it and be like, "Wow, they always look that way," or "Oh, it's never difficult working on a farm." I don't think people are thinking that when they watch.
They don't have time to film, edit, perfectly curated videos. It's all a lie. It's so crazy. In fact, I look at this
Most of the Tradwives I've seen, they either make really short videos, or not very often, or they're not edited very much. Um, so I don't think that is a mark against them in talking about, oh, you have all this free time. Um, I haven't seen a lot of Tradwives producing these professional level looking videos that would require a lot of time.
things like satire. I like, you must be kidding. You are trying to throw us. It's true that many of them have a lot of money, but life in the farm is nothing luxurious, okay? It's lots of hard work and dedication. Very, 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 very few people. The average housewife on the farm has no time and no business cooking and doing house chores in couture with, you know, so much calmness, so much time. That is not attainable. That was never attainable. That is still not attainable. That's just a fairy tale.
It just depends on how you manage it. I mean, if you actually put a lot of thought into yeah, organization, time management, things like this, you can end up with a lot of time after all. So it really just depends on how you do it.
Version of the past. I mean, nobody goes around on a farm with full face of makeup, couture dresses, cooking in them. Who cooks in a $5,000 dress with so much time and calmness, making it everything from scratch with excellent lighting and very beautiful curated videos? You guys, social media is the new Hollywood. Take it with a pinch of salt. Personally, I've always thought of
Sure, yeah. Again, if you're believing um, that they're always going to look this way off camera, that they're trying to tell you that they're always dolled up and they're always wearing a nice dress and their hair is perfect condition or whatever. um, if they're trying to tell you that, then they're being dishonest, but I don't think they're trying to say that.
these videos as satire, very entertaining, very calming, satire. Don't like you can't really take these things serious. They will be trolling us. Do you understand? So we have this TikToker, Nora Smith. I'm sure all of you have heard her name by now. She says things like, my toddler
So here's, to my understanding, she has denied the label, rejected the label of tradwife. I don't know why they keep bringing her up when she doesn't say that she's a tradwife. It's very strange.
wanted cornflakes, so I decided to make it from scratch. What mom with three toddlers has time to make things from scratch, conflicts from scratch, and she says, I don't keep it in the house. So if you don't keep things in the house, how does your toddler know about cereal? I mean, you've never introduced cereal. And then she goes ahead to, start everything from scratch. She just perfectly has everything in the house. Says things like, my sister-in-law wanted bubble gum, so I made some from scratch. So I want bubble gum, and miraculously, you have some gum base. You have everything you need for that. Set up your camera and make me wait 8 hours. I saw another video where Laura Smith was like, "My toddler woke up with a cold, so I made him cough drops or cold drops, something like that." So
I mean, hey, props to you if you know how to do all of that stuff. I wouldn't know. See, this is the thing about it, right? Like people who don't do that, because like she's basically letting us know, well, I don't do that stuff. So if you don't do it, how do you know how long it takes? Like to me, I'm not going to presume to tell someone you that that thing that you do or you claim to do. I've never done it before, but I happen to know that it takes such and such amount of time, and you have to stay right by it and watch it like a hawk. So you can't possibly do that while you're taking care of toddlers. I'm not going to presume to tell people stuff like that because I don't know.
I was supposed to believe that your kid wakes up quite ill or with a cold, and then you start cooking up the cough drops. That's not, it's not even possible. So take everything you see on social media with like a pinch of salt.
How many people, um, if we're honest, how many of us have not had cough drops in the house until one of us gets sick and we need the cough drops? And then one of us, usually the father, if he's available, will hop in the car or truck and drive across town, go to the store, or maybe a convenience store if it's closer, things like this. But all that time that you take to go and buy the cough drops, sometimes it can take a while. So I don't know. And plus, it could be that there's you can give your kid some kind of tea with lemon or honey and stuff like this, and it'll help for a while. You don't have to have the cough drops right then. I don't know. I don't think this is an issue.
It's entertaining. Take it as entertainment. It's a movie. Enjoy it. Use it to unwind, but it's not real. It can't be real. That would be like me saying something like, my son wanted apple pies, but we didn't have any apples in the house. So I went to the yard and planted some apple trees. Now he has to wait for the trees to grow so that he has some apple pie.
Yeah, that's absolutely the same. Like months versus an hour or two. Yeah, it's totally the same thing.
It's just ridiculous. I feel like they can't be serious, like they be joking. What mom of toddlers has that amount of time on their hands? My friends have kids, and no, they don't have half as much time. And they have help. They don't have half as much time. So you have to remember that this is their career. Okay, this are curated. They have teams. They have the lighting team. They have a lot of support. And
Sometimes they have support, or sometimes they just do things differently. Um, I don't. I, I've heard people do this thing where, well, everybody I know, they'll tell you this straight up, and it's like, okay, but the people you know are. It's very likely that they're similar to you. So talking to everyone that you know is just going to kind of return. Um, it's kind of like returning your own life experiences back to yourself, and you're kind of referring to yourself as a reference point at that point. Um, yeah, I mean, it's kind of like what people say against the tradwife, the traditional marriage in general. They'll be like, "Well, I talked to my grandmother, and she told me that being a quote unquote tradwife type was hell." And so, my grandmother, well, she told me, and so you talk to your grandmother. And I talked to my grandmother, and she says the opposite. And it's because, families pass down their values, they pass down their, all of these different things. So it's not surprising that you and your friends, you manage a household one way. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but you manage a household one way, or maybe it's not possible to do certain things when there's toddlers. But for all we know, different people are different ways.
maybe, just maybe, your husbands are really, really rich and they can afford to easy around. That's not very attainable for the common person, the average person. All these Tradwives influencers do is trying to,
Nothing that we see on YouTube from a lot of these bigger content creators is going to be possible for most people. Again, I don't think the message is saying You should be a trad wife and you'll have all of these nice things in your home any more than any other content. Most of my favorite content creators, they have nothing to do with traditional marriage, but they have nicer houses than I do, right? In the background. And in general, we fix our place up. If I ever do a face reveal or something, then you can be reassured that I'm gonna decorate the background or whatever to make it look nice. I don't think that that's nefarious.
cook up a life that never existed, selling it to us, and we're supposed to be like, oh, I want to be this way, knowing fully well this is not attainable even for them because they pretend they're not working, but they're actually working because that's their job. Their job is to cosplay and get money off of the ads or whatever. That's their full time.
There's nothing about being a trad wife that says you can't earn money. There's nothing about being a trad wife that says you can't promote it on social media. Um, it's more about where your priorities are. So if you are working a full time hours on this, then yeah, I would agree. But again, like I said, a lot of these videos are not they're not super well edited. They're not most trad wives, to my understanding, they really don't post super often, or they post on TikTok, which, as we all know, is like super short videos. So, yeah, I don't think there's much of a case here either.
Career. They cosplay the 1950s housewives as a career. They set up lights, camera, action. So them even saying things like they don't work, it's not true. We have to remember that while this is very entertaining satire, it has nothing to do with real life. I mean, there's nobody on a farm that wakes up in full makeup, walks around in couture dresses, doing that.
Who the heck is who? Which? Please show me. Maybe TikTok is different. I really don't spend a lot of time on TikTok, so maybe it's different. But show me the trad wife that literally like like you see her waking up. Not the satire. I've seen people who are against the trad wives make little um, videos making fun of them, but I've never seen an actual trad wife or someone claim to be one say, "Yeah, this is how I wake up." You know what? I wake up this way because it's the traditional way. I don't think this is a straw man.
Chores, just happy, happy. Where? So we have to watch these things
I don't
with
know. I mean, I think she seems happy. This lady that's talking right now, I could, if I was like super depressed, I could be like, "You're faking all of these smiles. You're not happy." It's all relative.
like a pinch of salt. Remember that it's just for entertainment purposes. Think of it like you see when comedians come up and like make up stories, apply that same thing here. Okay, they don't mean it. While I really enjoy my homemaking skills, I really love to cook and whatever. But
I don't know. I don't know if I should believe that. If we're to assume that everything is fake, and you're just, I again, this goes both ways. Anybody can just look at you and say, "Oh, you say that you enjoy cooking, and but nobody really does." I know that because my circle of friends over here, they all hate it. So you must be lying. It's a dumb game.
the problem comes where people make this an identity. Taking us back, all the women empowerment rights in the mall, all the fights just gone for nothing. They're taking us back to not having to work, idealizing the stay-at-home wife, who doesn't work, pretending to be that while you're actually working. It's actually quite deceitful. And to make
Yeah, again, I don't think that they are keeping it a secret if they're making money doing that. I don't think they're trying to hide it or something. There's nothing to say that you, as a trad wife, can't earn a little money. It's the same way that a traditional husband, right? I would consider myself, for the most part, a traditional husband, not a perfect, um, not the epitome of one, but I'll cook burgers, right? Every now and then I'll cook some burgers. So does that mean that oh man, you're not a traditional husband because you cooked? It's more about what is expected of you and what do you consider your role to be. So my wife does not expect me to cook, and I don't expect her to earn money. But if she earned a little money, that wouldn't stop her being a trad wife. Just like if I cook, I don't stop being a traditional husband just because I cooked once or twice a week or something.
this whole tribe wife thing, your identity in 2025 is really, really problematic. It is. That's where the
The word problematic is problematic.
issue is. It's problematic and it's dangerous to you because those kids are actually going to grow up and live, and the world has changed. I mean, it's just not attainable anymore. And this
So my wife and I actually got into this a traditional marriage sort of lifestyle accidentally. And by that, I mean, we decided to homeschool our son. And then everything kind of fell into place from there. Obviously, if we're going to homeschool, we need one of the uh, one of us has to stay home. And I didn't feel right about suggesting. Neither of us wanted me to stay home, really. So we just kind of became a traditional couple in that regard. And of course, we chose to homeschool because the government schools, I don't call them public schools, they're government schools because the public doesn't run them, right? The government runs it. Um, the government schools are constantly trying to teach your children, I just hope everyone's aware of that, they're trying to teach your children anything they can that is wrong. It might be anti white racism, it might be socialism, it might be confusing them on what their gender is. There's a million things that they can teach them. Um, yeah, that's why we decided to homeschool, and that's how we became a traditional couple.
way of thinking takes us centuries back on the women empowerment race. It just takes us all the way back. It's not helpful at all. It's actually quite toxic. So, should tribe wives actually be online? I mean, we can't control what people post on the internet. At the end of the day, the country
The empowerment thing is funny because one way or the other, you are going to submit to someone, no matter who you are, no matter what your gender is, no matter what your lifestyle preference is, you're going to end up submitting to someone. And I think it's always humorous when the feminist will say, "Oh, I'm not going to submit to anyone," and then they go and they submit to their boss. And usually, it's like a supervisor. It's also an employer. It's customers. It's clients. It's you know all of these people, managers, and most of them are men. So it's like I'm not going to submit to this one man who is socially expected to care about me long term, but I'll submit to all of these other men who really aren't expected to care about me long term. It doesn't make any sense.
content does really well. The videos have millions and millions of comments on them and views in hours,
I'm jealous too. I get it. I'm jealous too.
you know. So I feel like the only thing that we should require for these tribe wife cosplayers to do should be to make them actually write up there very boldly. This is for entertainment purposes only. So that young girls don't go about comparing themselves to the girls they see online.
You're never going to stop young girls from comparing themselves to other young girls or women. You're never going to stop that. It doesn't matter. I don't think that this is about, oh, you don't want them to try to compare to an unrealistic standard because there's all kinds of unrealistic standards that we don't say anything about. But again, I really don't think, even the youth, I don't think the young people are as stupid. Maybe they're stupid, but I don't think they're as stupid to believe that these trad wives are waking up with all of their makeup and hair done, and it doesn't take any time at all, and everything's perfect in their life. I don't think they believe that, and I don't think they're going to think the trad wives want them to believe that.
Most of these influencers cosplaying trad wives have husbands that are really, really rich. They can actually just
It's news to me. That's news to me to find out that I'm really, really rich. I got to tell you, I don't feel that way.
afford to lazy around, pretending not to work while they're working in their $1,000 clothes and $1,000 kitchens. Okay, that's not very attainable for the average person. I feel like that's not even attainable at all for the average person. So before you start feeling
But you have jewelry on, and there's people that can't afford jewelry. You have a nicer microphone. People can hear probably. I don't have a nicer microphone. So how are you any less quote unquote fake than the trad wives?
like a failed mom for buying drugstore medicines and stuff for your kids and not cooking everything from scratch, remember that these people, this is their job. Okay, this is their job. And with that, we've come to the end of today's video. If you've come this far, I really don't know why you haven't subscribed. Okay, if you enjoy this kind of videos, hit the subscribe button.
Okay, that's pretty much it. Um, Yeah, I don't agree. I think I've made that pretty obvious. The thing about saying, and this is a common everyday claim that people make, the Tradwives are a lie. Um, in order for it to be a lie, first we have to actually prove that that's not how they live. But mainly, it's more about um, what exactly are we assuming about these people when we watch their videos. Again, I don't watch, there's tons of people I watch on YouTube that seem like their lives are great because they're talking about something specific. And if it's not about traditional marriage, it's some other thing they're talking about, and they just want to make sure they're presentable on camera, or their houses look really nice for the camera, or they do have more money than me. I don't assume that, oh, look, if I agree with, you know, Matt Walsh on the gender thing, then then I'll just magically have his kind of money, or any other the people who stream video games. I'm not going to look at them and be like, well, they have a really nice room there with all these neon lights in the background. And if I was more of a gamer, then I would have that. No one's thinking that when they watch these. Um, so yeah, I think this is yet another straw man attack on the Tradwives, quite frankly.